Hi there, hi, good morning everyone. This is Liz Davis. I am a nutritionist and I specialise in digestive health for busy women. So I help busy women fix their IBS, bloating, reflux, heartburn, painful digestion, any kind of related hormone problems, chronic fatigue and so on. And I do this with state-of-the-art lab testing for gut health and hormone health, and any other tests that we need, and then diet and lifestyle upgrades and supplements and so on to bring things back into balance and get it functioning all optimally for you again. So a really important part of any kind of gut healing protocol that we need to do is going to focus on the gut-brain axis, because what is typically going on in the gut is going to affect what's going on in your brain, and what goes on in your brain is going to affect what's going on in your gut. So really important to keep the pair of them very healthy, because they're in constant communication. So I'm just going to go over a few of the mechanisms at play here, and then a few ways that you can support this through diet, and what kind of foods to eat to make sure that you keep things ticking over, and of course what to avoid as well. So first up, what you need to be aware of is the enteric nervous system. So the enteric nervous system is your gut's own nervous system. So it's separate from the rest of your nervous system, and it's just kind of instrumental in what happens regarding your digestion and so on. So it's controlled via the vagus nerve. So very important to keep your vagus nerve nice and healthy. And so any kind of damage to the vagus nerve, which is the nerve that connects your brain and your gut, it can end up being injured in many different ways, can cause problems with your gut function. So it's an important thing to be aware of, and there are certain simple exercises you can do to keep it nice and healthy and functioning really well. So next up, you need to be keeping your microbiome nice and healthy. So your microbiome being the population of bacteria that live in your gut. So good bacteria, some not quite so good bacteria. We need to keep them all in balance, because if they start to get out of kilter, they can affect your mood. So there's lots of ways they do this. So your good bacteria are they make a lot of neurotransmitters, for example. They make serotonin and GABA, etc., short chain fatty acids. So these kind of things are really important for your mood. So of course they're not just centered in the gut, they have lots of different functions around the body, but if your gut bacteria are out of whack, then you're not going to be making enough of them, and of course your mood is going to take a nosedive. They're doing, scientists do a lot of research into the connection between people who have IBS symptoms and people who have symptoms of depression and anxiety and so on, and there is a definite clear link there. When people start to fix their guts, typically one of the main improvements they see is with their with their improvement in their depression, anxiety, just general well-being symptoms. So how to keep it healthy then? That's the crux of the issue. So here's a few pointers. So first up, I would be avoiding ultra processed foods, definitely, as far as you can, and anything with lots of added sugar or those kind of convenience foods. The science has definitely shown that people who eat higher levels of those foods do have worse kind of anxiety, depression symptoms, worse IBS symptoms, and as we know, they're all kind of connected. Whereas people who eat a relatively large level of, or a large number of whole foods, vegetables, fruits, etc., they have less of these symptoms. So there's a definite link there. Next up, I would be eating probiotic foods. So probiotic foods such as kefir, kimchi, those sorts of things are really good. Natural yogurt even, really good for keeping your microbiome nice and healthy. But beware that if you have got ongoing gut problems, bad gut problems, you may have something called SIBO. which is bacteria growing in the small intestine. And if you add more probiotics into the picture, it can really make your symptoms a lot worse. So if you have got those really bad symptoms and you're taking probiotics and things are getting worse, definitely get in touch and we can get you tested and find out what is going on in your digestive system before adding in all these kind of probiotic foods and things. Next up, avoid gluten, or it's worth doing a gluten elimination challenge if you are someone who is suffering with either your gut or your kind of psychological health. Some people find if they take gluten out of their diets, it really does improve things with regard to depression and anxiety and so forth. So definitely worth experimenting there and finding out if you're affected in this way. So some people will be absolutely fine with things like sourdough. It's a much easier type of bread. You know, it's much easier for your gut to assimilate the nutrients from those kind of products. So maybe have a go with that. Of course, if you are celiac or anything, you've still got to avoid it completely. Next up, eat healthy fats. Healthy fats are so important for so many things, for your gut health, for your brain health, for your skin and everything. Hormone health, of course. So don't sort of think you've got to avoid fatty foods if you want to lose weight or anything, because you definitely need healthy fats. So oily fish, extra virgin olive oil, nuts, seeds, etc. are really good kind of sources of fat, which you definitely need to be including regularly in your diet. Next up, eat foods high in B vitamins. So dark green leafy vegetables, nuts, seeds, lentils, beans, etc. are all rich in B vitamins. B6 in particular is a precursor to serotonin, so that is what you want to be eating a lot of, or supplementing even if you feel like your mood is taking a bit of a dip at times. Nuts are really good as well, actually, in and of themselves. Nuts are really good, particularly walnuts. Cashews are rich in serotonin as well. If you find nuts are a bit hard on your digestion, then you can soak them for a couple of hours first and then eat them, or blend them into smoothies or overnight oats or what have you. Makes it much easier on the digestion. Okay, I hope you found that useful. If you did, do like and share, and I shall see you next time. Okay, bye.